We live? We're live?
We are live now.
Yay!
Hey. All right, everyone. Um, we are here, me and Donna, to talk to you about multiple things because Donna is the kind of person who can talk about anything, anytime. Isn't that right, Donna? Okay. My name is Neera Mahajan.
Yes.
Uh,
It's like
it's for the others.
ask
It's for the others. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself as well, those who don't know us. So, I run the publication called Author Circle, and Donna is also on Substack and probably multiple other platforms. But I'll let Donna tell you what are those and what publication do you run on Author Circle. Oh, sorry, on Substack.
So on Substack, the name of my publication has changed, and it will probably be changing back to what it was originally. Originally, it
Mm-hmm.
was Poker's Life Lessons, and
Mm-hmm.
after a year, I said, "Well, everything has to do with your self-talk." So I changed it to
Mm-hmm.
Self-Talk with Donna, and I went,
Mm-hmm.
"Yes, but"
Yeah.
so I think it's gonna come back to Poker's Life Lessons because the concepts of poker the metaphors for poker actually help people in relationship to making better decisions. It's
Mm-hmm.
perfect in relationship to an author because
Mm-hmm.
authors have a habit of trying to be perfect before they publish. And in
Mm-hmm.
poker, you realize that you have only a short amount of time to play a hand.
Mm.
And and also I learned in poker is that you need to fold early and fold often. And that's probably one of the biggest lessons that entrepreneurs can have in business
Mhm.
because we tend to think, "Oh, I've got so much money invested in it, I've gotta keep it." I'm going, "That's crap. That's a dumb thing to do because when we do that,
Mhm.
we punish ourselves, we penalize ourselves." So,
Mm.
fold early and fold often.
Yeah, but I have a question here. I have
Yeah.
heard you that you talked many times. There are so many life lessons in poker, but so many people. I agree that they keep going way beyond they need to um, on a life journey or maybe on a project they're working on or maybe on a business and all those sort of things. But then there are many others who fold too early without having ever giving it a go, a full go. So how do you decide when it's time to fold? um, I'm not talking about poker, I'm talking about life.
I think it goes down to the pause because when there's a decision to be made, we have a
Mm-hmm.
habit of being reactive. Now, poker is a perfect illustration of that, but we do that so much in life, is that we
Mm.
react rather than consciously taking actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the most important thing is to finish something to the end. If you're gonna play a hand and you're determined to
Mm.
stay there, finish it. And
Mm.
I have been in the past the one who would well, let me say I am a recovering perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working diligently on being able to take one thing,
Mm-hmm.
focus on that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in our life, we create so much chaos because,
Mm-hmm.
like, people that are listening, if you're on your computer, I want to ask you, how many tabs do you have open on your computer?
Oh, I can tell you, mine is always 30 plus, and I have multiple windows of computer. So in one window, I'll have about 15 Substack open. Another window, I'll have 15 YouTube open, and then another one or something else. Yeah, and I don't turn them off because I think, okay, get back and finish reading this, or I'll get back and I'll listen to this YouTube video. So you're absolutely right. I have too many.
So I have come up with a solution to that,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually made a sheet in Google Drive
Mhm.
and my sheet of links, things that I
Mhm.
really wanna see. So I find something
Mhm.
I take a link, I put it in there, I say what it is, when it is, that's it, and I close that tab. I am
Mhm.
telling you, it is free, I can go back there anytime. The thing of it is, I never go back and watch them.
Never to. Yep.
So, but I'll say, I would really like to find that about it could be about how to deal with AI. It could be how to do a super prompt with ChatGPT, and
Mm.
I may have found something about that, and in my sheet that I made
Mhm.
that the AI of Google Doc helped me make it, it was like the
Mm.
date, what it is, not what it's called, but what it is in there that I'm interested in and the link. So I'd go through there and I would search for something that would be about a super prompt. I'm going, "Oh, well, I
Mhm.
did find it." I go back and look at it. So I do use
Mm.
that, but what it's done, I'm looking at my screen right now. I have
Mhm.
1 tab open.
There you go. There you
I'm
go.
so proud of myself. Now on the other on the external drive, I have 2 screens open.
Mhm.
I have 1 screen open, which is a Google Doc, because I
Mhm.
wanted to just take a picture of us. So,
Mhm.
s give me a smile.
Oh well, it is.
So I do a
There.
screenshot,
Yep.
and I also have an app
Mhm.
called, Granola app, and it's
Mhm.
transcribing it for us. So I can go,
Mhm.
"Hmm, what did I say? Did I say that well? Is there something I could
Mhm.
have done differently?" So,
Okay.
it's
So
how I do after action I've got 3 open.
okay. So what's the granola app for?
It's a transcriber.
Uh,
When I'm on my computer, they don't have it for the phone yet, but when I'm on my
mhm.
computer, uh, I'm on a Zoom, or
Mhm.
if I'm even if I'm on my phone and we're speaking uh, on the speakerphone, I can hold it right here at the computer and it can pick up the words. All it is
Mhm.
it's a transcriber.
Okay. So whenever I talk to you, I always learn new apps, new things, and new competition you are going through, whether it's a poker or speaking, so many things. Are you sure you are 80 plus?
No, 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 I'm only 76. I'll be 77 next month.
Okay, so you're 70 plus,
I'm
and you are
77.
into, oh,
Go
you
ahead.
have got, you have so many new apps and so many competition and so much going into all these things. So I need to check your age. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's
my,
okay.
no, I'm joking. Because my husband is not 70 yet. He will be soon, in few months' time. And he told me, this was 10 years ago, that he's never ever going to go on YouTube, and he's never ever waste time on social media. And then what does he do then? Probably nothing. He doesn't learn anything, and he doesn't. Oh well, of course he's into investing and all that. He does learn all those things. But this is my point, is that age is not a material when you are into learning into something. So you have learned poker at a later age. You are teaching poker now, and you are into all sort of things related to building a business or writing books. You have written 2 books, I understand. But what are those?
well, my favorite book is Mind Shift on Demand,
Mm-hmm.
and if you notice this yellow band here, it says, and I'll read it to you,
Mm-hmm.
it was by Zig Ziglar. If anybody knows who
Mm-hmm.
Zig Ziglar was, says
I
Donna
know.
Blevins. You know Zig Ziglar?
I
Yeah.
do. I read all his stuff. Yes.
Says Donna Blevins is someone we can all look up to, both professionally and physically. And that's
Wow.
because I am 6 feet 5 inches tall, and if you're not in the feet, I am 1 meter 97.
How did you manage to get a blow from Zig Ziglar?
Um, I met Zig Ziglar in the early '90s, and he was
Mhm.
hosting a conference, and
Mhm.
it was in real estate, and he said, "Donna, where is your introduction?" I said, "Zig,
Mhm.
I didn't write one." He said, "Well, here,
Mhm.
let's talk about it." So he spent about 10 minutes talking with me. Now, fortunately, in those
Mhm.
days, I was told I should always record my speeches. So I
Mhm.
actually had a gunsmith make a holster that would
Mhm.
fit for one of those cassette tape recorders, and I wore it
Mhm.
under my suit, and I had
Mhm.
this fancy, mic that came up here, and so
Mhm.
fortunately, it's on because I was able to get his words, and I said, "Holy moly, Zig, that's absolute." I said, I'm so honored. Can I use that?" He said, "Use it any place." He said, "In fact, put it on the cover of your book." And so when I published this book, I said, "I gotta put Zig there."
Mm. There
So
you go. Excellent. So we come to books now. There are so many things I want to talk to you about. So tell us your mind shift book. What is it about, and what can people learn from it? Everybody go and buy Donna's book. By the way, yeah.
okay, this is my baby. It's
Mm-hmm.
my baby.
Mm-hmm.
I had okay, so in 2013, Halloween of 2013,
Yeah.
I have this book ready to publish,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a up on my external screen, I have one of the mind shift exercises,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so frustrated because I had been rejected by the healthcare community because medical professionals had said, "You don't have any proof that your mind shift stuff works." And I
Mm-hmm.
stood up from this computer, and I looked up, and I had a talk with God, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, God, I want proof, and I want proof now." And, sometimes you don't want to say something that you're really stupid at saying. And moments later, as I was falling to the floor
Mm-hmm.
and hit the floor, and I thought, "Be careful what you ask for," because I had a massive stroke, and my speech was muted. The doctor said it would take me 8 to 9 months before I could speak, if at all, and using these mind-shifting exercises in the book, one specifically, isn't that interesting? I was able to speak clearly in
Mm-hmm.
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I had my proof,
you
and
had
and
proof. Yeah.
had my proof, and it's interesting because this has 12, uh, mind-shifting methods that I created over the years, and I had
Mm-hmm.
taken this book to after it was published in 2017 because it took 35 rounds of editing. Holy oh, anyway, I took this to my husband's primary doctor. I wanted to give it to her, and the nurse that was there grabbed my wrist, a little tiny thing, and she said, "You have to go talk to the chief of the pain clinic." I said, "Okay." So
Mm-hmm.
she said, "Give him the book," and I gave him the book, and he asked what it was, and I said, "Well, it's the way that you talk to yourself." He said, "Can it
Mm-hmm.
help pain?" I said, "Um, I don't know, based
Mm-hmm.
on the because I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that everyone that he worked with were taking opioids. And he
Mm-hmm.
said, "Well, can you come and do a session for the clinic?" And I said, "Sure." "When?" He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Tuesday." I said, "Okay, fine. I'll be there."
Mm-hmm.
So when I got there were 14 veterans,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that they were all on excuse me, I knew that they were all on opioids. I didn't have to ask them. It wasn't my job to do that. But I asked them
Mm-hmm.
to bring up situations that caused them great pain, emotionally or
Mm-hmm.
physically, and
Mm-hmm.
asked them to rate where they were on the pain scale. And then we went
Mm-hmm.
through the process, and afterwards, I asked them to rate where they were then. 4 minutes it takes to do. 4 minutes, that's all, 4 minutes.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
There were 2 of the people that literally jumped up from the seat and say, "Oh my god, I can't believe it. I went from an 8 or a 9 to a 2 in 4 minutes." And when the doctor I talked to the doctor later, and he said, "This is great because 'cause I'm going to go to India to see my family. I'll have something to read when I'm traveling in the airplane." And
Mhm.
I said, "Terrific." When he got
Mhm.
back, I said, "Well, how'd you like the book?" He said, "Well, I didn't get to read it all." And he said, "I
Mhm.
don't have the book anymore." And I said, "Why?" He said, "My relative stole the book." I said, "My book is in India? Yay!" And and he said, "So everyone should read this book 1 chapter a day." I said,
Mhm.
"So in 15 days, they're through the book." He said, "No." "Explain." He said,
Mhm.
"This book, Mind Shift on Demand, should be read 1 chapter a day for a year." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because it takes a while for processes to be internalized. It takes a while
Mm.
to be able to understand them, and
Mhm.
chapters are short and they're conversational." And he
Mhm.
said, "That's what I would recommend." So, I'm thrilled to hear that. And by the way, last week, there was
Mhm.
a video review put on Amazon on my book. Someone had gotten the
Wow!
I went,
Somebody
"Yeah,
did.
yeah," and I'm thrilled with that.
Mhm. Mhm. That's amazing story, Donna. You never told me this one before, but you did tell me something that you've written this book from your poker training. It's what you learned from poker applied to life. Is that correct?
This book is not about that because when I sent it out as a pre-review to
Mhm.
my poker coaching clients, they told
Mhm.
me to remove the poker stories from this book.
Oh.
I said, "Why?" They said, "Because your mind shifting exercises that you have taught us, we use in all parts of our lives. Our relationships are better, our business is better, we're happier,
Mhm.
we don't
Mhm.
lose our temper as much, people like us more, and we
Mhm.
don't want people to think that these mind shifting methods are just for poker players." So they told me that once the book was published, they wanted me to publish another one called Mind Shift on Demand for Poker Players, and Mind
Mhm.
Shift on Demand for Healthcare, Mind Shift on
Mhm.
Demand for members, Mind Shift on Demand for speakers. So I'm in the process of doing that, and thank you very much for bringing that up. So my poker book, because you said you wanted me to write the poker book, and it's turning life lessons from poker into a book to actually help executives and entrepreneurs make better decisions, because
Mhm.
poker is a decision game, and it's a decision that you have to make quickly. However,
Mhm.
you have to make that decision with incomplete information. We never have it
Yeah.
all.
Yes.
And what's most important is that once we make a correct decision based on the information we have, it's most important to remain unattached to the outcome. That's the big challenge in relationship to poker, in relationship to
Mhm.
life. Remain
Mhm.
unattached to the outcome. Whatever happens, happens. We make our
That's the
dec
best lesson I have heard for a while. n- uh, so unattached to the outcome. So make the decision unattached to the outcome. While we make all the decision based on the outcome we want.
Yeah, and what happens is it doesn't always happen. It doesn't happen, and when we
Mhm.
don't get there, we spend time until we had the process, we spend time
Mhm.
beating ourselves up, because when we fail at something, as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned, failing is good. It's like failing forward, because when you
Mhm.
fail, as long as
Mhm.
you analyze it and debrief in a productive way,
Mhm.
rather than failing, it's lessons. We learn when we look at failure differently. It's just
Mm. Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Love it. Love it. All right. So we move on to the next part. So your story itself is very intriguing. First of all, uh, you are a doctor. So
I have a
tell
PhD.
you have a PhD. So talk about that. What's your field in what's your PhD field?
So I went back to school at the age of 58
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted PhD on the cover of my book. It started out it started out as pure ego, and
Uh-huh.
so because of caregiving for my mother and where I live in a rural area in Florida, I
Mm-hmm.
thought, "I'll look to see what's online." And I came
Mm-hmm.
across metaphysics, the science of the mind, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
"I can do that. That's
Mm-hmm.
easy."
Mm-hmm.
And
PhD
so
in metaphysics. Oh my
yeah,
God.
and so but before I could go into that program, I had to have a master's. So I got my
Yes.
first master's in metaphysics, and I was so enamored, so in love with metaphysics that I got a second master's in performance spiritual psychology. And then my husband said, "Would you just stop it? PhD." And so I had almost all of it finished, and the school that I was going to moved out of the United States, and they said, "We're not going to do this anymore." I said, "Excuse
Mm-hmm.
me?" "But I'm almost there." And they said, "I'm sorry, but we're not going to do that. It just, you know." And I said, "But I paid all this money." They said, "Tough." So I said, "Okay." So I looked around until I was able to find a non-denominational theological seminary,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Will you take what I've got?" And they said, "Oh, you're there, but here, take some of these courses that they had." And I did that. And they said, "You've
Mm.
already written your dissertation." They said to me, "Your book, this is your dissertation."
Yeah.
I said,
Thesis.
"What?" They said,
Yes.
"This is your dissertation." So in essence, people say, "Where's your dissertation?" Here it is, Mind Shift on Demand.
Well, this is the dissertation. Now, I've written thesis in my masters, and I have two half PhDs. So I'll talk about that. And so most of the theses never see the light of the world because they just stay with the university, their library, or even on the back shelves of your what is it called, coaches or guides or whatever they called
Like
in
papers
US.
or something.
Yeah, the because you got to do PhD with someone. We used to have three guides. You have to have three professors you're working with. I was studying biochemistry, so mine is sitting in my shelf.
Biochem Biochemistry?
Biochemistry, yes.
Holy moly. Go ahead.
So mine is sitting in my bookshelf, and many times my kids said, "Can we throw this away?" And I said, "No, no, 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 leave it. Throw it away when I die." It was so much effort, so many experimentation it took to write that. But yours, people are reading it, buying it, putting video reviews for it. What more could you want as a dissertation? Nothing. this, this is the best form.
When they said, "That's your book," I said, "Oh, then I'll publish it." I'll
So
publish it.
so you published it after that,
Yeah,
and we had the doctor on there.
I got the doctorate. Let's see, the stroke was in 2013. I finished
Hmm.
my doctorate in 2015, and I kept stalling to publish because I said, "No, no, gotta have the PhD on the cover of the book." Ego. And now people are insisting that even on Substack, they said, "You have to put doctor in the front of your name." I said,
Mm,
"Well, if you really wanna get weird, I'm
mm.
also a twice ordained minister. So theoretically, I am Reverend Doctor Donna Blevins."
There you go. Put a reverend in there as well. Okay. Well, that's interesting story. Love it. Love it. Now you are so full of story. We are running out of time. But one more story I wanted to tease out of you today was you're speaking, and haven't even got into poker yet. That was going to be my main story. But let's talk about your speaking.
Okay.
We'll do another one. um, let's talk about your speaking.
Okay.
So, how did you get into these speaking challenges, speaking competition, and winning all these competitions and getting paid for it even? Tell me
Well,
about it.
I have been a professional speaker since the '80s. My husband and I met on the real estate speaking circuit. It was called No Money Down at the time. That was the big craze in real estate market. It was
Mm-hmm.
based on a book called No Money Down by Robert Allen, and it
Mm-hmm.
just went crazy, and that's how I met my husband. And we
Mm-hmm.
paid in those days by the percent of the number of courses that you sold, because in order to speak from that stage, you had to have your own home study course. So in the '80s, I was creating my own home study course, and I'm happy to say, and excuse me, I'm laughing so much my nose is running. You don't have a cold, I have a laugh.
Okay.
So I started speaking, and it was interesting because in 1978, I was on a plane, and I'd always seen myself as a speaker because I
Mhm.
kept going, God gave me the divine gave me this body that's 6.5 feet tall, and I wore 6-inch platforms, by the way, when those were the craze. Yes, I did. Why was I given this body? Because I'm supposed to stand on stage.
Mhm.
What I kept feeling.
Mhm.
And I met my husband.
Mhm.
I'm 6'5". He's
Mhm.
5'3".
Why does it always happen?
And I'll tell you a secret.
Mhm.
So he has a nickname. He stands about right here.
Mhm.
He's known as Tit High. Okay. He's proud of that name, by the way. So
Mhm.
I when I first said I was a speaker,
Mhm.
and this was in the late '70s, and someone said, and it was on a plane, and I was
Mhm.
flying first class in those days because that was when you could get a complimentary upgrade.
Mhm.
When I saw a basketball team go on an
Mhm.
airplane and get upgraded automatically to first class, I
Mhm.
went up and said, "Look, I'm taller than those guys. Upgrade me." So I was able to get upgraded to first class. So I'm sitting in first class, and this man said, "Are you a speaker?" And I said, "Yes." I had never been a paid speaker before. And
Mhm.
he said, "What do you talk about?" And I said, "What is it that your company needs the most?"
Good answer.
I wanted to talk about self-esteem and
Mhm.
and loving yourself, but I knew that that was way off the board in relationship to that.
Mhm.
And he said, "It has to do with sales." Well, I have been a great salesman since I was a kid,
Mhm.
without saying I was a salesperson, because I learned to communicate with people. So
Mhm.
I said, I deal with marketing and sales." He says, "Oh, we need that. How much do you charge for a keynote?" I said,
Mhm.
$1,000. Now $1,000 days was a lot of money, and he said, "Great. When can you come?" I said, When is your next opening?"
Mhm.
So, I and the first year that I was a speaker, I made $20,000 speaking, and I went, "Crap, I guess I am a speaker." So over the years, I love to teach. I love
Mhm.
um, the blessing with the pandemic is that the world has been conditioned to connect virtually by way of Zoom and other platforms. I mean, that's
Mhm.
huge in relationship to it. So that is a blessing that came out of the darkness of the pandemic.
Mhm.
And I've done keynotes, but most importantly, I like to train in a series. And sure, it's great to get up and be able to do a 45-minute keynote and be paid handsomely for that. That's wonderful. I'm available.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
what I found is that I prefer to have more of an interaction with people. That's why I like the workshops that we can do on Zoom today.
Mm. I like workshop too. I like to interact with my audience. That gives me energy, and it gives me, in fact, material because I speak impromptu most of the time, like I'm doing this interview with you. I, I thought of certain things, but it's going in different direction, and which is fine. I love having conversation like this. All right, we are half an hour into the interview, and we got lots of stories from you, Dana. And I need to actually do a separate one with you on poker and
Okay.
teaching, how you are teaching life strategies from poker's strategies. So that's going to be another one. But thank you for coming, and thank you for talking to me. Put your book up there. Everybody, please get Donna's book. It's amazing. I'm going to go get it too today. I've been putting it off, but today I got to go and get it. Right.
May may I add one more thing?
Yes, please.
Okay, and it's just ending on poker because we're coming up to about 2.5 months to the World Series of Poker, and I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to be doing a free, uh, World Series of Poker prep that'll be leading
Mm-hmm.
to another series, but it takes 6 to 8 weeks to prepare for the World Series because
Mm-hmm.
you need to change your bio clock, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like Olympians do not train overnight to become an Olympian.
Mm.
That's what I'm gonna be doing, so I'll put some information in that about that later.
Okay, so we'll include it in the video of with when I send out this replay, and you can give me the information. And I would love to attend that if it suits my time zone, because most of the things you do and other people do are when I'm sleeping. So
Well, I have actually considered doing the free ones at 8 o'clock my time since I know that you're up.
there you go, 8 p.m.
Yeah, 8 p.m. And what time is
Hmm.
it? Right now it's
So
8:35.
it's 8 p.m. is 11 a.m. for me, so it works very good for me.
Okay. Okay, so 5 p.m. my time would be 9 a.m. for you, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Only for this month. In April, our times are changing. So we will be 1 more hour apart. So it will be much earlier for me, but we'll
Okay.
work it. Mm.
And
Yeah.
where are you exactly?
I'm in Australia, in Canberra, Australia.
Australia. And I let you know that my first virtual coaching client was Australian, and
There
that
you
was
go.
so I was accustomed to that. So, Neera, I want to thank you so much. This is fun. I love doing this. I love chatting with you, and thank the lovely people. I do not know how to see who they are, but thank you for being here too.
There you go. Thank you very much. And I love to hear you. I can hear you all the time. The stories you tell and the lesson you teach. Amazing, amazing. All right, we'll call it a day today. You go, better go and have some sleep, and I'll start my day.
Thank you so much. And you just end
And
it, right?
yeah,